Have you noticed? The rules of the world seem to have changed. An invisible treasure chest now guards your digital self. Your brainstorming partner is no longer human. It is artificial intelligence. There are no limits to your creativity. Esports is now a sport and a profession. There is a more comprehensive mind-body approach to medicine. Everywhere, from the seen to the unseen, from cities to your surroundings, technology is transforming your tomorrow, and I am the power of change. COMPUTEX 2021.
Hello, everyone. Greetings from Taiwan. I'm very happy to welcome you to COMPUTEX 2021 and the first Taiwan-Israel Innovation Summit through the COMPUTEX virtual platform. For the past 2 years, TAITRA has been devoted to creating new channels to support the innovation needs of Taiwan's industries by providing a path to engage with international innovation hubs. Our main goal is to enable Taiwanese companies to seek and leverage innovation into their products, operations, manufacturing processes, and more. As a first step, TAITRA has set up its first innovation center in Tel Aviv, the heart of the famous startup nation, Israel. The Israeli technology ecosystem is unique and exceptional in terms of entrepreneurial spirit, with more than 7,000 active startups, over 200 VCs, and a vibrant tech community. TAITRA and Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center Tel Aviv are gateways to connect with Israeli technology. We help Taiwanese companies to engage with Israeli startups and leverage their technologies and solutions with the aim to secure competitive strategic positions and create great opportunities for business communities of both countries. This summit marks the beginning of the great innovation collaboration between these two amazing countries. Speakers from Taiwan and Israel will share their experiences and give insight into significant bilateral opportunities. At TAITRA, we welcome you to reach out to us and explore together the great opportunities of engaging with Israeli innovation. Enjoy the event. I hope you will find it interesting and practical. And more than anything, please stay safe.
Dear friends, it is a great honor for me to open the first Taiwan-Israel Innovation Summit as part of COMPUTEX 2021 exhibition. At the outset, I would like to congratulate Emma Young, the director of TAITRA's office in Israel, for arranging today's event. I had the pleasure to participate at the launching event of TAITRA's office in Israel in 2019, and since then, under Emma's leadership, it gave significant boost to the business and trade cooperation between Israelis and Taiwanese. In this context, it is important to stress that even under the limitations caused by COVID-19, the volume of trade between Israel and Taiwan was not affected and even expanded in the past year. A lot of it has to do with the excellent work of TAITRA's office in Israel. Among the many similarities exist between Israel and Taiwan, I especially want to highlight one. In both places, there is a deep and full understanding of innovation, its virtues and advantages it brings to the table. Both Israel and Taiwan are centers of innovative ideas and state-of-the-art technologies, each in its own way and fields of expertise. It is only natural that we can form between us the perfect partnership, a partnership of win-win, a partnership of synergy, a partnership based on common goals and shared vision. As more and more Taiwanese manufacturers are looking to improve and upgrade their production lines, Israel can be the address in providing the relevant software to do so. As new global production chains are being shaped, Israel can take its place as a hub for producing cutting-edge high-technology products for Taiwanese corporates. As the global demand for semiconductors is exploding, Israel can be a center for Taiwanese chip makers' investments and R&D. As Taiwan experiences a growing water challenge, Israel can be a partner, sharing its year-long experience in dealing with droughts and water shortage. And so I believe it is high time for Israel and Taiwan to accelerate and expand their technological collaboration. In no doubt, today's event will help in achieving just that. I want to conclude by thanking everyone for their participation and by wishing fruitful and interesting exchanges. Thank you.
Hi, this is Tony Chen from Winbang in Taiwan. I appreciate the opportunity in the event of the Taiwan-Israel Innovation Summit to share a successful story of the collaboration of the Israel and the Taiwan team to create an innovative product line and create a new business. Here, I want to go through the story with a few slides I prepared. Okay, the concept of this successful story is the innovation and the leadership driven by Taiwan plus Israel team. To begin with, I want to share with what is Winbang. Winbang is the memory company in Taiwan. We have leadership in product and the technology. So right now, Winbang is a worldwide leader in the cold storage flash, which is widely used in every electronics product with MCU or SoC. We are the #1 NOR flash supplier, and also Winbang is a pioneer in the industry to introduce serial interface NOR flash and the serial interface SLC NAND flash. Besides the leadership in the cold storage flash, Winbang is also a major specialty DRAM supplier in the industry. We focus on the medium and the low density DRAM, but most importantly is that Winbang is the worldwide fourth company that have their own capability to develop the DRAM technology, in addition to the big three worldwide leader of the Samsung, Hynix, and the Micron. And also Winbang have a highly efficient 12-inch fab in Taiwan. So currently we have a fab in the middle of the Taiwan, Taichung, so that produce the DRAM, NOR flash, and the SLC NAND flash. And also we have a new second fab in Kaohsiung, which will be into mass production in the second half of next year. So currently, though, Winbang has in addition to the headquarters in Taiwan, we have subsidiaries in USA, Japan, Israel, and China. We have a worldwide employee of 3,000 people and have a consolidated revenue of $2.1 billion in year 2020. Okay, let's begin the successful story of this topic of the innovation and the leadership. So back to year 2013, Winbang established an R&D center in Israel. So even though Winbang is a memory company, but this time we chose a different field. We intended to develop a new business line focusing security. And also we have a vision to be the global leader in the security technology and the security solution. So after we established the R&D center in Herzliya, Israel, focusing on the security product, in the last 8 years, this team made a tremendous accomplishment to introduce a series of very innovative and high performance security product and a good kind of accomplishment in the certification. In year 2015, we introduced the industry's first secure element, a secure flash, based on the innovative architecture, which achieved the highest level security certification in the common criteria EAL5+. 2 years later, we introduced the industry's first secure element product with an innovative architecture, which can offer a larger flash memory density. Also, this product achieved the highest level security certification in common criteria EAL5+. Then 3 years later, we introduced another product portfolio called a secure flash product, which is good mainly for the IoT application. This product has got the certification of the common criteria EAL2 and also get a special honor from the Aspen Core organization, the outstanding product performance of the year in year 2020. And also last year, our kind of secure flash product 75F product series also got the accomplishment in get certification in both of the EAL5+ for the common criteria, and also we got the certification in the ISO 26262 ACOD. Is for this certification for the automotive safety. You can see that after we established the R&D center in Israel, so this team kind of in the last 8 years introduced a series of the high performance and the high security standard product, also get the certification in all the major security standard. So after we formed the R&D center in Israel, actually it is this kind of R&D center in Israel lead and now our kind of global R&D team in Taiwan, Japan, and the USA to develop the series of the security product that I just kind of reported in the previous slide. So you can see this is with the R&D center as the kind of key point and coordinate all the talent in Taiwan, Japan, and the USA to accomplish all those kind of major kind of progress in those kind of security product. Here, I just kind of show you a full product portfolio that this WINBA R&D global team developed in the last 8 years. So as I mentioned, this security product is utilized innovative architecture such that this product architecture can satisfy a few major aspects to be a versatile and high performance security product. This product family is flexible, and this architecture is scalable in terms of the secure flash memory density, and is also versatile for different security level, and also is certifiable to meet all the mainstream of the certification standard. So you can see that in the last 8 years, this kind of Israel plus a global team have introduced 3 major product family, starting from the highest security standard, secure element, to the middle level of the secure flash, which both can meet the criteria of the EAL5+, and also ENVCO and the CFNR, all those certification. And also, we also introduced another product family, secure flash, that fits for the IoT application. So this you can see that with the innovation in the architecture, Israel plus our global team pretty much kind of is a pioneer in the architecture of the security product, which make it flexible, scalable, versatile, and certifiable. So this slide just show you all the certification of the product family that can accomplish in the last few years. For example, secure element get a certification in common criteria, ENVCO, and the CFNR in China. Our 75 product series and the 77Q series also got the certification of the major security criteria. So you can see this is a very kind of, even though it's a small team, but it's a small team with the R&D center in Israel, plus the talent in the global location to achieve this kind of product portfolio. Here I show you how the global team performed in the last few years. The team always kind of have a vision and the goal in mind. That is, we want to be the leader in the digital security. First, WINBA is a very active contributor in international working group in the security standard and the certification. In Eurosmart, Winbond contribute to the development of the new security requirement and the specification. In the global platform, Winbond contribute in the development of the new security certification scheme. In addition to those kind of activity in the international security standard and the certification, Winbond also very actively promoting the security ecosystem and the global alignment in the Taiwan communities. In the security ecosystem, I'll show you, Winbond is leading a security committee under the largest industry association in Taiwan, trying to establish the IoT security ecosystem and to cultivate the security awareness in Taiwan's ICT industry. And also, this kind of Winbond is trying to bridge the interaction between Taiwan industry society and the global platform. So to reach alignment of the Taiwan with the latest security standard and the security certification. So this slide just show you how Winbond's security team kind of performed in both of the international society and also how Winbond kind of try to promote the IoT security ecosystem and try to have the global alignment between Taiwan and the international society. This slide just show you another initiative the Winbond security team try to establish. So that right now the security is a very hot topic, but however, people only understand it's very complicated, but how to establish a comprehensive security kind of measure against the hackers attack. So this team, Winbond team, also try to establish this security ecosystem landscape shown in this slide. From this slide, it clearly illustrates that in order to establish a solid security protection, we need to build security protection in those 5 layers. Top from the regulation and the certification, then go to the cloud security, platform security, software security, plus the bottom layer of the hardware security. So in addition to the 5 major layers, we also lay down all the major pieces of the landscape in order to compose a complete security ecosystem. So this is a major kind of framework the Winbond security team try to promote and establish. The last, moving forward, with the success in the last 8 years, so here we try to continue to move on to establish the IoT security ecosystem and also provide security module solution for diversified IoT application. So what we plan to do is still to utilize the strengths and the talent of the Winbond Israel plus our global team to continue to drive the innovation in the IoT security area. And also we're going to expand our secure flash product portfolio and provide more security module solution for the IoT application. And also we endeavor to drive the IoT security ecosystem and with a strong intention to become the leader in the IoT security and to contribute to the security standard and the certification. So all those kind of story I share with you just show you that how we can utilize the talent in Israel and the capability, special capability in Taiwan to innovate a brand new architecture, establish a new product portfolio, and growing a new business opportunity in the area of security. I wish this kind of sharing of the successful story is beneficial and useful to all the audience, whether either you are in Taiwan or in Israel. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chairman Chen, for this great presentation about Winbond's technological capabilities, the company, its Israeli activity, and the value it gained from there. We'll take the next few minutes to do a quick Q&A session. First question is, what are the values that Winbond is deriving over the years from its activity in R&D centers in Israel, both in terms of technological values and business values?
Okay. The reason why we like to establish R&D center in Israel has a multiple reason. First, Israeli engineers are very innovative, who are not binded by the conventional wisdom. We can always kind of think out of the box to come with a non-conventional and a very innovative architecture. This is the first their talent. Second thing, once with a new idea, they can also very quick to put all the technical knowledge into the solution. And also in addition to that, I found out that the Israeli people, maybe due to the environment in the local area, we saw so many multinational companies. So Israeli engineers always kind of very familiar with the market trend, not the mature technology. They have a good kind of feeling and a sense of the market trend. And based on their innovation, quickly come out the innovative architecture to outperform the conventional product and idea.
That's great. And how would you, if you can share some of your experience with working with Israeli engineers and the subsidiaries here, maybe a story or something that is unique for you in terms of working with Israel?
Okay, a good question. I share with you my real kind of interaction with our Israeli colleague. So people always say that the Intel people are famous, are part of their culture of the constructive confrontation. But I found out that interaction with Israeli people are even have a more kind of stronger kind of atmosphere than the Intel architecture. First, when you have meeting with the Israeli engineer, they always kind of focus on the technical matters. Very straightforward and very quick, very direct, and also deliver their opinion with a strong message. Even sometimes in the meeting, there's a fight. But after the very kind of violent discussion, after the meeting, become friends again, go out to the restaurant to have the beer. This is something I like it very much. Because face the issue, find the solution. Once the solution, the discussion is finished, become friend and a colleague again. Another thing, I really like to enjoy that with all the people, company in Taiwan. I found out that, I don't understand why. Sometimes I give our Israel team a very difficult and challenging question or task. It's always very amazing. Usually within a day or no more than 2 days, the team can come out a very satisfactory answer to me, go beyond my expectation. So I believe that I found out that I do believe not only the engineer in Israel have a good capability, and also I believe they know how to look for information from outside, and also they react very quick. Another thing I want to share with you is also a surprise to people in Taiwan or USA. So even though our Israel team performed so quick and so well, but I found out they also know how to maintain the balance between work and the life. Mm-hmm. They come to office at 9 o'clock, enjoy the very kind of healthy breakfast, start to work. And you found out even that they go to lunchtime, even only kind of 3 hours, they already accomplished a lot, not only in terms of quantity, also in terms of quality. So, and also people like to have exercise, like the very shiny. So I do believe strong the interaction with the Israel team. I found out to maintain the balance between work and the life, or even your kind of interaction with outside, can really help your performance and the efficiency in your work. I say innovation and efficiency, and also constructive confrontation. This is all my experience with our colleague in Israel.
Thank you for this. It's a great insights. Maybe the last question here is, when we look forward with wind bonds and the technological advancements, what are your plans or future plans for the Israeli innovation subsidiaries? How do you see this?
As I kind of reported in my last slide, our vision or ambition is we want to have the Israel R&D Center and also align with our other global team to really become a leader in the, I call it the digital security industry. Not only from the product component that we already have, our kind of vision is to establish the ecosystem from the bottom layer of the hardware all the way to software system, all the way to the government regulation and the product certification. This is a very ambitious goal, but we really find we're exercising this kind of concept in Taiwan. Once we demonstrated that, we plan to kind of copy that to different regions in the world. So right now, our Envision, we become the leader in the formation of the security ecosystem, and in the meantime, Winbound itself, we can provide not only the security memory product. Our intention is to provide the security product, the module solution, become a system company. But so far, with the special characteristic and the capability of the Israel team, I do believe Winbound team has a very good chance to achieve that goal. And also it's a good kind of manifestation to the world, how to utilize the team, Israel talent, and all the good kind of capability of the Taiwan team or the USA team to accomplish something that people may feel that it is impossible. That is our team making it possible to possible.
Yeah. Well, I think nothing better to finish with than this vision. So I want to thank you for this session and for your time, and wish all the best for Winbound and yourself, and hope to see you in Israel really soon, or in Taiwan.
In the fall time, I do, because usually I come to Israel twice a year. One is around April. The other time I like to come in October.
So it's not too hot.
Yeah. So I look forward to seeing you soon.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be given the opportunity to talk to you and present to you EMSA. My name is Yoram. I'm the CEO of EMSA. I'm based in Israel. And let me please introduce EMSA to you in the next few minutes. So a few words about EMSA. EMSA has been around for 15 years and has been in the area of Edge AI. We've been pioneering the Edge AI industry since 2006, much before it became such a trendy technology as of today. So we are a deep tech technology, and we designed to add intelligence for connected devices, and with the objective of connecting millions and tens of millions of devices to make them intelligent. We've been focusing in making it through enabling three main domains in the Edge AI. One is the power domain, making our devices extremely low power. We're talking about milliwatts of power. Extremely low size, small size, and this is to basically integrate without impacting any industrial design. And extremely low cost, because this is a big enabler for large deployment. So we've been focusing on that for quite many years. We've been a global innovator in this area with a large wide patent portfolio, and very proud to say that we've been the first in the market to bring this technology and integrate it with the first consumer appliances, primarily focusing on the notebook business, on the computing business. So we are about to ship millions of devices. Our revenues as a company are about $5 million this year, and going to already rapidly to $20 million of next year, with a substantial booking already through 2022 and beyond. We are part of a Taiwanese company called Himax. It's a large $2 billion cap Taiwanese company. And Himax originally invested in EMSA, being in Israel, back in 2017. And since 2018, we are fully owned by Himax. So what is exactly our vision and what are we doing? So EMSA had the vision since the beginning to make the AGI extremely affordable through ultra-low power and to connect tens of millions of devices. This is our vision. We want to make the world more convenient, more secured, more energy efficient, and we are enabling that through our technology. So what exactly this AI is doing? I mean, just to make it clear. So AI is a sort of contextual awareness device that basically look at the overall environment and decide what's going on. So the kind of decisions and awareness that the intelligence is processing is, for example, is there a person there? How many objects or people out there? Are they looking at the device or looking somewhere else? Are they sitting? Are they standing? How far they are? Are they acting normally? So these are all kind of questions that the AI, being at the edge, is processing, and all of that by completely respecting the privacy. So there are no pictures that are moved to anywhere. Everything is done at the edge device. So we're sort of edge of the edge. So as I mentioned, we've been focusing on making it successful to very large deployment. This is what really differentiates us from many other edge AI devices. And we understood that in order to cross the barrier for wide deployment, we need to be able to address three elements. The first is the low power, because many of these devices are either battery-based or just don't want to be influenced by the high power consumption. And this is where we design our device to be extremely low power with just a few milliwatts of power consumption. We've been designing it to make it affordable because consumer devices and connected devices, they're all very cost sensitive. So we knew that in order to get to the large deployment, we need to get it extremely affordable. Affordable meaning in the price of just a few US dollars. And third of all, very small size. The problem is that in order to get to these kind of domains, this is basically a big challenge, because when you talk about computer vision and the traditional computer vision, it's usually conflicting with this power and cost and size, because computer vision and AI in general, they need very high processing power. They need very large memories. They need high resolution image, color image to process the AI. They need a very quick processing time, and all of that is dramatically influencing power, cost, and size. And that's the gap. That's the challenge that we've been able to basically resolve. So if you look at where we are comparing to some similar embedded edge AI, just to give you the kind of feeling about it. So we are orders of magnitude when you look at the comparison, for example, as the processing time. So here you can see that typically embedded devices in this area, they work on clock of gigahertz when we work on hundreds of megahertz. Memory-wise, we squeeze into just a few megabytes of memory comparing to gigabytes, which are typically required. So these are like 3 orders of magnitude. We are okay to work with very low resolution images. Again, orders of magnitude. And all of that is to basically achieve this average power of just a few milliwatts comparing to hundreds of milliwatts, with a very dramatic cost reduction going down to just a few US dollars for the whole solution. So that's really our unique value position for EMSA. So what exactly are we selling? So it's practically a combination of 3 elements. And without getting into too many details in this short time, let me point to the computer vision algorithm. I mean, overall, we are a strong company that makes very optimized machine learning and neural networks computer vision algorithm that can squeeze into just a few megabytes of memory. We have the camera that is a special camera that only takes just a few milliwatts. And we designed a special chips that includes our AI technology, includes our IP. And altogether, these 3 elements of integration, they comprise what we call the WiseEye ultra low power solution. So the WiseEye is the solution that we're selling. And we are actually aiming to very different markets. All of these markets, they really require these kind of solutions. The first market that we've been focusing was the notebook market, the computing market. And this is where we actually brought the first AI sensor to be integrated with some major OEMs, and we will be presenting it in COMPUTEX. We already are active in the smart home business, in the connected home with different security devices. We have applications that touch the automotive, and that also extend later to smart building, consumer appliances, industrial, and many others. So all of these are the market segments that we focus on, but let me give you just a few examples of the first three ones. So the first one being naturally the computing market, and this is why we are so proud to present here in COMPUTEX. Actually, what you see here at the top side, of the right top side, is a picture of our technology and chipset integrated into some of the major camera modules that you can find in the leading notebook carriers. So when you're asking what exactly does it do, so it makes your notebook more intelligent. The notebook can actually now decide if there is a person, is he approaching the notebook, is he leaving the notebook, is he engaged now with the work of the notebook. And this is primarily to optimize the power consumption. We are able to extend the battery life of the notebook by almost 30%, or 30% more battery life. We're also able to improve the privacy and the security by identifying what the person is doing. Is he walking away? Is there anyone behind him? And there are actually many more use cases that are all related to the situation today that we are all in working from home and collaboration through video conferencing and others. So all of these are leveraging the intelligence, the new intelligence of the notebook. As a result, we are now already shipping. We work with the major ODMs, whether it's Quantime, Compal, and many others. We work with the major the module makers such as Chicony and others, and we are very proud to be partners with Intel in driving this technology to the notebook. Other examples, and I'll just roughly touch them. This is about the smart home and security. You can actually see the movie that I'm showing. This is, just imagine, this is human detection in just a few milliwatts and a few dollars of the cost for any security camera or doorbell. And we are proud to make this kind of partnership with another Taiwanese ODM called Primax, and we're looking for other ODMs that like to collaborate and leverage this technology into the smart home and other businesses. Other example relates to automotive, where we collaborate with different OEMs in this space. Again, a very interesting use case where we've been asked to identify legs, not human, not face, legs, and this is for the purpose of authenticating that there is the user and the car owner who approached the car, and without any ends, basically the car opens up for him. So all of that are some examples of the different use cases. As I mentioned, we are practically a very young company. We just initiated this business after restarting the company in 2016. We're about to make our first revenues this year and growing very dramatically towards the next few years. And we are actually also looking for partners to join this success. And to summarize this introduction, we're very proud to be, I would say, the first company in the world that have taken the AGI, the concept that everyone is talking about, and really integrate it and deploy it in millions and millions of devices. This is the first time that anyone took the AI through the low cost and low power and the size that we've been enabling and being successful in shipping it to the real world in millions and millions of units. So this is about us, EMSA. Very proud to present it to you here, and hope to get to know you and get emails or any other ways to get information and requests from you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited to be here today and hear from one of the most active and esteemed professionals working at the technological collaboration channel between Taiwan and Israel. In this session, Arnon Kraft will share with us his insight and vision of the exceptional synergies and collaboration opportunities between Taiwan and Israel. So Arnon, let's get into this. So maybe to get to know you a bit better first, can you please introduce yourself, your background and experience, and the connection to Taiwan?
Yeah, for sure. First of all, Shani, thank you for having me here and hosting me. I wish some point soon we can all do this in person again, like the good old days before COVID, but I'm sure it'll be the case soon. So let me start, as you said, by introducing myself. My name is Arnon Kraft. I've been with the consumer electronics and devices and hardware and semiconductor industries for the past 20 some years, in various roles in various countries here in Israel and in the US. And as you mentioned, one of the things that was really common in all the roles I've done from the beginning of early 2000s is the connection in business and work in Taiwan with Taiwanese companies. You know, I had a team that I used to manage in Taiwan, actually set up a team, hired people and managed a team in Taiwan. I had partners in Taiwan, I had customers, I had vendors and suppliers. I was on the board of a company in Taiwan. So really, I had the full taste of working with Taiwan and in Taiwan. And I have to mention that, you know, now after, again, 20 years of being in Taiwan and working there, it's really for me much more than just about the business. That the people that I've met throughout the years, not all of them obviously, but many of them are really very close friends to me today. I'm in touch with some people that I have no business for the past over 10 years, and we're still in touch, and they know not just my birthday, but the birthday of my kids and my wife, and the same for the opposite. And every time I go to Taiwan, which again before COVID was obviously more often, we make sure to meet, whether it's for breakfast or for late night drinks, so we don't miss a chance. And I know it may come off as a cliche that some of these people and myself, we call each other brothers, but really that's how we see it. And every time there's something in Israel or something in Taiwan, you know, whether it's WeChat or WhatsApp or emails, we make sure to be in touch and make sure everything is okay, and if we can offer any help. So for me, working with Taiwan is really more than just about doing business. It's a partnership, and I'm happy to help any way I can.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like very familiar to the type of partnerships and relationships actually that Taiwanese form, and it's quite special. Yeah. So over the years, you can tell a bit more maybe about your extensive opportunities you had to work with Taiwanese companies, being at companies like Microsoft, M Systems, SanDisk, and more. Can you share some insights regarding how Taiwan and Israel complement each other in technological aspects?
Yeah, it's like you managed. I really had various roles, from sales and marketing to business development to then operations. And my last full-time role was general manager for strategic partnerships and sourcing at Microsoft Devices. And definitely one of our, many of our biggest partners and suppliers are companies in Taiwan, and everybody knows, you know, these brands and these companies, the biggest ODMs on the planet. And we've had really, the way we saw it, and I'm happy to say the way they saw it, is really not a customer supplier or customer vendor interaction and engagement. It was really about being partners. And after we decided to move back to Israel, this was in 2018, I was really glad that a few of these companies that I worked with in Taiwan, and specifically Chiconi that I still work with today, reached out to me and said that they want to see how I can help them with scouting technologies and innovation in Israel. And it really opened an interesting discussion because it was important for me to understand okay, I'm moving to Israel, I'm going to be there on the ground and I know the industry, but what is it exactly that you're trying to gain? What is that added value that you see as an executive, the CEO of Chicony in Taiwan, specifically for Israel? And talking to other companies as well, not just Chicony, but definitely where I am today, 2 years after it started, I can tell you that it was interesting to see. I went to a dinner in Taiwan. This was actually not with the Chicony management, but with a different company that also has, by the way, a facility here in Israel. And on the way to dinner, we went through a university and a school, and the chairman of this company told me, you know what, we in Taiwan, we teach our kids to work hard, and they know how to come to a company and work hard and get the company to scale, but we don't teach them to innovate. Their instinct is not to innovate. And for you in Israel, because coming out of the military, because of many other reasons that you can read in various books, your instinct is to innovate, and that's why it's really a perfect combination. And I really agree. If you look at companies in Taiwan, Taiwan is not a huge country, compared to other countries in Asia, and still it managed in an amazing way to have companies like Chicony, like Foxconn, like Pegatron, like HTC, many more other companies I can count, that really took something and built it into scale to become the biggest in the world today. And that doesn't matter if the company manufactures in China or in Taiwan or Philippines, that the brain of the company, the engine, is all in Taiwan. If you take those capabilities, building something at scale and doing it, not just building it to scale, but doing it in the most efficient and effective way possible. And you add on top of that, the, again, instinctive innovation and thinking out of the box that's embedded in everything we do in Israel. I really think it's a perfect combination. And in fact, one of the reasons Chicony asked me to be here as their technology scout is to look at innovations and see where we as Chicony can bring that added value of innovation to our customers, which are mainly, the very well-known branded PC OEMs and other, consumer electronics companies in the US and Japan. How can Chicony leverage that innovation from Israel and bring it as an added value to our customers? And I think, to me, that was a perfect combination.
That sounds like a good description of exactly what we see here today. And you mentioned Chicony, so you are currently working with Chicony to create this partnership, this external innovation with the Israeli startups.
Yep.
So as much as you can share, what is Chicony looking for in Israel, and why do they have chosen Israel for this?
Yeah, and obviously I can't go into the specifics of which companies or which fields, but I think that's understandable. So going back again to that conversation I had, and where we are today, maybe even more important, 2 years after, definitely what Chicony saw in Israel is an engine for innovation. And Chicony does consumer electronics, especially focusing on cameras and input devices for PCs. And really, Chicony is the #1 global expert and leader in camera modules and input solutions. So you can ask, why do we need this foot on the ground in Israel looking for innovation if we are the experts? And the answer is, you look at different trends in the market today, from AI to machine learning, in semiconductors as well, in the audio, computer vision, and computer imaging, so many different things that even if you can find a company here in Israel that does a very niche, specific something, technology for computer vision, and it's software only, we can look and say, okay, how can we put that on a specific device we're building for customer A or B, and it's going to give that, again, added value, that unique value and competitive edge to our customer. So while we are the experts in obviously understanding our customers and building those devices, you look at the innovative technology, again, that some of it, maybe most of it, comes out of military units or other startups, and you have all these people who are serial entrepreneurs. Again, that combination of developing and working on a technology that's very unique, and you have the prerogative as a startup to focus on something that's very, very unique and very niche, but in the way that you focus on it, do it in the best way possible. I think sometimes larger companies don't necessarily have that luxury of looking at that very niche and specific use case or technology. And you add on top of that the capability, the skills, or the experience of people in Israel. That's exactly what we're trying to leverage. And again, without going to the specific names and details, I'm really happy to say that we already have some success stories of companies in Israel that we were able to look at their technology and see how we can leverage it and combine what we do in Chicony in Taiwan with what this company does here in Israel, and go to our, again, customers and offer an even better consolidated solution.
Yeah, and I think this is really the key of the value that, you know, at the end you want to create better solutions or a better value for the companies you work with, your clients. And I think this is how it becomes a great synergy with Israeli companies, and you're actually doing this, so it's quite cool. So I think as working with Israeli startups or being part of the Israeli tech ecosystem for quite a long time now, and also professionally and personally working with Taiwanese companies and individuals. So you understand that there is a difference between the ecosystems and between the personalities. So maybe just to get your mindset on how would you suggest Taiwanese companies or individuals to connect with Israeli startups and the Israeli tech ecosystem as a whole? What would you say?
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. And to be honest, before I started to work with Chicony in this specific role, because I've been working with Chicony for 10 years, so I know that company well. But before starting to work with them here in Israel, I have to say that even for me personally, and obviously I knew of the differences between Taiwanese culture and Israeli culture, and they're very different in many ways, and to be honest, alike in other ways. But after doing this for 2 years, I can tell you that I think it's not just the best way. I would also almost say the only way to do this and to do this right is to have somebody here in Israel that understands and is able to translate. And I don't mean by that translate from Hebrew to Mandarin. It's more than about the language. Israelis for the most part speak English. Same in Taiwan. It's the same language, but I think what people say and what they mean is very different. I think the culture of the Israeli, I'm generalizing, startup ecosystem and innovation is very different than the culture of definitely big ODMs and big MNCs in Taiwan. And at times when somebody says something, the other side, and this works both ways, thinks that they understand what was said or the intent was, but they don't really. And in some cases it's a nuance and it's close enough and it's fine. In other cases, and I have these examples, it's really a matter of one side can be offended by the other side, or one side can not think highly of the other side because of the way things are said and what is said, and it's really not what the other side meant. So I think it's really important to understand the difference in cultures. And the other thing, and this is really where I feel I have an advantage working with Chicony. I know Chicony for so many years. I know how the company works. I know what they need. I know the management team. Again, before COVID, I was there at least twice or 3 times a year. I think it's really important to know as best as you can the company that you work with in Taiwan, and really understand their culture and how decisions are being made. And I think it really helps when you're trying to send information that way to know who is the right person and how to send that information. And obviously, the same goes for here in Israel. If you don't have the right network with the ecosystem here, then the value you can bring it exists, but it's only it goes so far. I think if you have the ecosystem, if you have the network here, and companies and VC funds and investors actually reach out to you, and that's definitely the case for me today, and they tell you, hey, we know you're working with Chicony, and this is an interesting company, and to make those right connections, I think that's really the best and the right way to do it. So my recommendation would be to have somebody here on the ground, ideally somebody that knows your company as much as possible. And if it's somebody that you've never worked with before, that's fine. Try to educate that person and bring them to Taiwan to learn about the company as much as possible. And I think the most important thing is somebody that you feel has the same values as you as a company, and that understands the Taiwanese culture, but also your company's culture. And then, that, you know, at the end of the day, that you'll be proud to have that person as your representative here in Israel.
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree. So maybe just to wrap this session, and maybe a last question. So how do you envision the future of technological cooperation between Taiwan and Israel from the place we are today?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously I don't have a crystal ball, but I look at, and again, this to me was a really good point in time to stop and understand the fact that, you know, Chiconi's management reached out to me and they knew me and they heard I'm moving back to Israel, and they asked proactively for me to do this. I think it's a perfect example. I think if we look at, again, at the skill set and the fundamental know-how and advantages that Taiwanese companies bring, again, in terms of building to scale and knowing how to do it in the best way in the world, so effective and efficient, and build those, it's not just factories, it's those capabilities. If you look at that with what we do here in Israel, which is, it's, you know, if you think about Israel ecosystem, it's not about building to scale, maybe unfortunately, but that's where we are today. But it's definitely is about innovation and thinking out of the box and being creative.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you look at these two things and you look at them at a higher level, perhaps the culture in Israel and the culture in Taiwan, and again, these countries and people are very different, but I think in many ways so similar. And I think there's some natural connection between these two countries. I think if you look at that, and then you look at the advantages of both and the benefits that each side can bring to the table, I really see that connection, that partnership, that engagement between Taiwanese companies and Israeli startups and universities and research facilities only growing as we look 5-10 years into the future.
Yep. So we are definitely aligned on this perspective, and we are very happy to be a part of it. So I think this was highly insightful and interesting, and I want to thank you for joining us in this session, and also to mention that how fortunate we are to have you as part of this ecosystem between Taiwan and Israel, and to have you as part of you know, our partners here in Israel and in Taiwan. And I think I can conclude by just saying that I hope to be in Taiwan with you in the near future.
For sure. For sure. And I can tell you the same way that I mentioned that, you know, I think that companies from Taiwan need somebody that they are really proud to have as their person here in Israel. I can definitely let you know that I am extremely proud of having, you know, a Chiconi business card, and, you know, I've been working with Chiconi for the past 2 years as their technology scout here. Again, I know the company, I know its leaders. It's really people and an organization I'm very proud to be associated with, and I think at the end of the day, that's what we all want, to be part of an organization that we are proud to be part of, and I think that's definitely the case. So thank you for the opportunity, and definitely looking forward to seeing you and many more people in Taiwan, hopefully soon.
Great. Thank you, Anon.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Asaf. I'm one of the co-founders and CEO of Granulate. Granulate is a real-time continuous optimization solution. Basically, we want to help companies handle their workloads with anywhere between 20 and all the way up to 80% performance improvements. And we'll show you just how in a few seconds. You can see on the screen some of the numbers that we've been getting with our customers. You can also see them in the success stories on our website. But I think the more important part is the no-code changes. So the premise behind Granulate and how the company started is that everyone in production is using Linux operating system. And in production systems, that's probably 80% and more true. But Linux was built with a user behind the keyboard in mind. So everything is aimed at interactivity and fairness. And when we say that, we talk about the schedulers of the I/O, the network, the disk, CPU schedulers, mutex distributions, and so on. With Granulate, we want to take advantage of two things that exist in a production system that not necessarily exist in a laptop or a desktop user with a user behind the keyboard in mind. And that is, one, there's a different optimization function. So we monitor our production system for response time, latency, throughput, which could be IOPS, network throughput, requests per second, queries per second, and so on. And the second part is we have a process that's doing the same thing over and over again. So we could create a graph of what the process is actually doing. But at Granulate, we take that to the lowest level possible of how the mutex distributions occur, how the I/O operations occur, how the scheduler, how the threads utilize the CPU, and so on. I'll give you an example of how it works and why it makes sense that if we take that optimization function and that repetitive pattern, we can create something that's a lot more tailored to the application. So let's take a quick example of what happens when a user logs into a website. In this case, it's a microservice-based example, but we can think of it as any async I/O operation. So let's focus on a single server on service A. So an API request comes in, and for the user to log in, we want to not just verify that he logged in correctly, but also give them some new recommendations, some new insights, and some history of their activity, for example. Since a lot of it is independent, we'll utilize the microservices in parallel. And when things happen in parallel, this is where things get interesting, because some of them will return a response before others. And now, remembering that we're focusing only on a single server on service A, we assume nothing on the backend services. And so when one of them return a response, or a few of them, this is where that discrepancy begins. Because from a kernel's perspective, we have a file descriptor that's ready to be processed. And so when we call on it, or when every thread, if it's a threaded application, that thread will be signaled, this will be prioritized as high as any other task within the same process. And the same goes for the file descriptor itself. However, from the application standpoint, we know that we're not going to return a response before we get the response for the other requests that we made, which could be the history and some new insights. Now, this is all good and fun if this was the only thing that we had to do. But unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we can handle tens of thousands of requests at the same second, which means there could be a different user for whom all of the data has been returned. We can return a response back to the user given enough resources allocated to the processing of that data. And right now, it's blocking behind something that's not even advancing this particular request. And the same could be argued for an incoming request that needs to be sent to all the backend services to put the pressure on them and speed up the response generation. But once again, it's blocking behind something that's not advancing the request that we focused on. Now, if this is so important, why organizations don't do that today? Well, unfortunately, there's no way to tell the kernel how to do that. We can only tell the kernel how to prioritize between different processes. It's called niceness. But if you go back to the way the kernel was built, it's really good at distinguishing between different processes. It was built for interactivity and fairness. What we don't have is the ability to prioritize between tasks of the same process. And even if we did, we had to do the accounting to make sure that at all times we prioritize the right things. Now, if we don't do that, and we try to run at very high utilization levels, a very tight amount of resources, we encounter a lot of latency spikes and performance degradation, because there are a lot of options to do that wrong prioritizations. And therefore, a lot of organizations choose the customer service over the amount of infrastructure that they have, and they end up running very over-provisioned and unfortunately not getting the best performance. To solve that, Granulate asks the user to give us that optimization function. They already monitor that application or that workload, so they know what the optimization function is. We hook into the contendable resources, so CPU, network, mutex distributions, memory accesses, and disk accesses. we change the decisions as to which thread gets the CPU, which thread gets mutex, which IO operation happens before or after. And this allows the improvement of performance and therefore also the reduction in cost because we can do more with less. Now, we mentioned there was no way to tell kernel how to do that, so we created our own way through our own kernel module. So we enable that opportunity to prioritize between different tasks of the same process. We also take advantage of that to actually do that. We also have a runtime module because some of the runtimes mask some of the operations from the kernel. I'll give a few examples. So with Go, we have the concept of Go routines. So even if we change the worker thread on the CPU, we're not necessarily changing the actual Go routine that's being processed. And for example, with Python, if we change a Python thread running on the CPU and it doesn't have the GIL, we will not be able to run Python code. Might be able to run native one, but not Python. However, since everything's happening in the runtime of the kernel, we're pretty much agnostic to the architecture running on everything between bare metal all the way to multi and hybrid cloud environments, allowing the applications to finally take advantage of the underlying hardware. Installations could be as simple as a single command line, but we also support any deployment method that the organization already have. So this could be Chef, Ansible, Terraform, CloudFormation, Kubernetes, daemon set, and so on. And we're pretty much complementary and additive to any initiative that the organization has already implemented because it's a new way to prioritize. So even if the organization has done right sizing in the past, following the implementation of Granulate, they might be able to do right sizing again, or simply downsize the cluster itself. Finally, from a setting expectations point of view, this is a heat map of the timeline we expect to see the gains and the amount of performance improvements that we expect to see. We can see that for the JVM, which has its full reflection, or JVM-based applications, we expect the timeline to be 1 week to 40 to 60% gains. Go, Python, and Ruby do not have that full reflection, so take about 2 weeks. And Node, which is completely asynchronous, requires reconstructing the core stack, and so takes about 3 weeks. From a big data perspective, we can see it takes about 1 week for 25 to 40% performance improvements. We're talking about Spark, PySpark, Hadoop, Presto, SQL, and so on. Stream processing, consumers and producers depend mostly on the runtime, while Kafka brokers see 10 to 25% performance improvements. Now, we can have a look at the system itself. So this is an example of how it looks. We can see we have the services here for the applications that the organization has installed Granulate on. We can see how much we're saving. In this case, it's the last 7 days, how much performance improvements, and we have that on a per service basis. We can see in this service, for example, saving of 27%, and we can have a look on the examples. You can also see how it would look with and without Granulate. In this case, it's a native service, so not Kubernetes. You can see the amount of cores that are running versus the amount that would have been required without Granulate. Same goes for the instances. We can see the results on a per instance basis and even install and uninstall Granulate or activate it and deactivate. Same goes for other services, and we can expand our installation process. At this point, I would like to stop. And if you'd like to learn more, please visit our website, granulate.io, and contact us. We'd love to show you how it works. You can also check out our profiler. It's open source, and you can start seeing your own code profiles without any code changes and without requiring anything else. It's open source. You're welcome to visit our GitHub as well. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to meeting you all.
Hi, everyone. My name is Uzi Baruch, and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Proteantex. Very happy to be with you today. So today, I'm going to present to you Proteantex. Proteantex is an Israeli company focused on health and performance monitoring for advanced electronics. We are very happy today to be presenting in COMPUTEX, and also want to thank TAITRA for having us today. So Proteantex is leading a new category, founded in 2017 and addressing the challenges of the semiconductor and electronics industries. We are providing deep data, health and performance monitoring for advanced electronics. Our technology is silicon proven and focused on several verticals, namely the data center, automotive, communication, and so on. Since the solution and the technology itself is quite complex, our team is comprised from industry veterans from several focus area, all the way from silicon to software to provide a holistic solution. The company was founded by the founders of Mellanox. Mellanox itself is a very prestigious company in Israel that were acquired by NVIDIA not too long ago. And the combination of the Mellanox founders and veterans from the industry from different domains, namely Keith Morton, which is our Chief Revenue Officer and responsible for our global sales, Gal Carmel, which is heading our automotive group, and myself. The company is also funded by the biggest investors out there, certainly in the Israeli ecosystem, but also globally, and up until today was invested by almost close to $100 million. Since the last investment round, one of our primary focuses was to invest in our global reach. And back in August this year, we've opened our first office in APAC. To meet the growing demand. Our first choice was to open the office in Taiwan, in Hsinchu, and to provide local support to our customers and partners. We see Taiwan as a strategic partner for us, certainly with the ecosystem partners, the companies, the semiconductor and electronics companies that operates in Taiwan. And we see them as key partners for our global expansion, certainly to promote our technology and the collaboration overall with Taiwan. I'll talk more about later on about the kinds of partners and the kinds of companies that we collaborate with. So what do we do? Essentially, Proteantex is providing visibility to electronics. If you look at today's challenges with the growing demand by the different verticals in automotive, in data center, in communication, electronics is basically everywhere. There's 24/7 availability. Everything is as a service. And we know that it's also creating a lot of challenges, mostly around the cost associated with that, finding issues, and certainly providing a good support and good service to the end customer. The growing solutions coming from the semiconductor and overall electronics industry is also a multiplier for this problem. And essentially, the overall responsibility is moving all the way from all the way to the customer, to the partners themselves, to provide a good service to their customers. And with that, the need for visibility and the need to understand what's going on with the different components, all the way from the chip level to the system level to the in-field usage of those components is becoming essential. The idea at the end is that if we would be able to understand what's going on with every single component along the value chain, and also the correlation between those components, we would have better designs, better chips, better systems, and at the end, systems and the technologies that operates in real life, in different operating conditions, and in the best possible way. In order to do that, you actually really need several disciplines and several solutions to be combined together into a holistic approach. the idea of providing deep data that is coming from each component, from each part of the value chain as you move up, is really a key essential part of being able to understand, troubleshoot, build, assemble, and at the end test a good component and ship something that you can trust when it goes to the field. So those three parts of having what we call universal chip telemetry, which is the ability to get data from within the electronics using on-chip agents, leveraging the know-how of the data that is coming out using machine learning and statistical models, and the combination of analytics that leverages that data with the best know-how and the best correlation to how the agents behave and what they are sensing. This is basically a holistic approach that comprises of those three components to provide a full solution. If you look at the first part of the solution itself, which is actually providing the telemetry from within the chip, we have actually on-chip agents that are circuits which are embedded throughout the design. Those circuits are built from several families of circuits, all the way from circuits that are sensing the variation of the process, the timing, the interconnect between dies, and operational agents which are sensing multi-dimension parametric information coming from within the chip. This is all while keeping with the strict requirements from the industry of no penalty, not to power, performance, and certainly area, while still providing high coverage and high resolution. At the end, those agents need to be operating both in test mode and also in operation mode, while not only providing information about themselves, but also sensing the surrounding electronics and being sensitive to the application that is operating them. We have managed to embed our technology, the universal chip telemetry, in silicon-proven nodes, and we're proud to say that we are pioneering this domain and certainly providing solutions that are production-worthy. The combination at the end of leveraging that universal chip telemetry is in order to create a common data language. That data language is what actually enables you to see the same kind of information, but also manifesting itself in a way that makes sense in each stage and combine it all into a cloud platform. That cloud platform at the end would provide you at every stage the different solutions, the different applications, algorithms, and sets of data that enables you to maximize the value you're getting from each stage. Also, there are many vertically integrated companies that can leverage from the fact that it's all connected and then creating that common language across its entire value chain. The importance of having targeted applications at each stage of the value chain is becoming very important. The fact that each engineer, each user of the system can actually get the benefit which is coming from its own stage is increasing dramatically his ability to troubleshoot, to root cause, to understand his process, understand the challenges that he has in an easy and very convenient manner, and also achieve his day-to-day job and goals using these technologies. What normally would have taken months to be able to do, you can go down to days, to hours, to minutes in order for you to understand, troubleshoot, and actually leverage the technology to help you in your day-to-day operations. Where we really believe at the end that the language that we're providing with the different solutions at each stage, it's what actually maximizing our ability to help the different stakeholders and also collaborate with existing solutions out there at the different stages. So in a nutshell, this is Proteantex and the solution itself. We're very proud of it. We're very proud in the fact that it's being leveraged by the biggest companies out there today. And with that, I also want to touch a bit about our activities in Taiwan. We see Taiwan as a very strong partners of ours implementing our technologies. We already have significant partnerships and significant customers that are leveraging this technology. In March, we announced that we've joined the Tsmc Alliance as part of the Open Innovation Program. This alliance is including major and leading IP companies providing semiconductor industry largest scale catalog of silicon verified production worthy IP. And we see that we see this collaboration is a very big milestone for our company. And we're very proud in being part of that kind of a prestige program that is driven by TSMC. GUC, which is a TSMC company, is also one of our strongest partners. We have already developed with them several solutions that are ready to be utilized by our joint customers. We've done extensive work in collaboration with GUC, which includes including our technology in their advanced chips, as well as collaborating on communication, including joint presentations, white papers, and public relations. And we're very proud to be able to partner with such company. And lastly, we are cooperating with ITRI, and in fact, our offices are located in the same technology, in their technology park. We are also proud of the fact that we have significant presence in the local media. We've been featured in some of the Taiwanese leading media outlets, both written publications and also on TV items. And again, we see Taiwan as a major market for us for collaboration to create value jointly for our customers. Taiwan is a central hub for everything to do with semiconductor electronics, and between the solution that we provide and the ecosystem that exists in Taiwan, we are both humbled and honored to be taking part of these activities, and certainly providing joint value to the entire semiconductor and electronics industries around the world. Certainly, we're open to talk with you. If anyone of you feel that this technology is relevant for him, wants to explore an opportunity with us, and talk to us in general about how we can help in creating value for yourself, for your customers, certainly feel free to reach out to myself and also Vivian Chu, which is heading our office in Taiwan. Vivian is leading a team that is supporting our customers, our partners, and the entire ecosystem all together. And together with our headquarters and our global team around the world, providing solutions and support to deploy our technology in an easy and convenient manner for each and every one of you that feels the relevancy for him. So with that, I really want to thank you, and thank you for hosting us again. Hope to see you soon.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today and to take part at InnoVEX Forum this year. I would like to first thank all the speakers at the sessions you saw beforehand, and all of the team members at TAITRA's HQ for arranging and setting this up. I'm very excited for our first Taiwan-Israel Innovation Summit as part of InnoVEX this year. My name is Chen. I am a Business Development Manager at TAITRA's Tel Aviv branch, Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center. Let me just share the screen and we'll get things going. So in the next few minutes, I am going to present Israel's tech ecosystem and focus on how multinationals engage and connect with the Israeli innovation. And then I will present opportunities for collaboration, specifically for Taiwanese companies, and how we as TAITRA can help you in connecting with Israel and Israeli technologies. So let's start with an intro about us. Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center in Tel Aviv is one of TAITRA's newest branch offices in the world. We're located at the heart of Israel's startup ecosystem in Tel Aviv. The branch was established in 2019 with a core mission, which is quite new for TAITRA, to facilitate and create innovation and technology partnerships between Taiwanese corporates and the Israeli high technology ecosystem. So let's start with a quick introduction of Israel's technology ecosystem. We have to begin by saying that Israel has a mature and very developed technological industry and ecosystem. The foundations are rooted in the Israeli story, as we say. The common explanation is actually a combination of three ingredients, as you see. The first one is talent. The talent level and the human capital level is very, very high here. This is coming from the military, from the Israeli Defense Force, and the academia and other sources that have grew great talents that achieve a lot of accomplishments during the years. Second part is a mix of entrepreneurial spirit and a collaborative community between startups and entrepreneurs here. And the third one is a very high technological capabilities that Israel has. So as you can see, the elements that actually build this extremely developed ecosystems are first and foremost the startups. We have between 6,000 and 7,000 active startups in Israel, which is a staggering number. We have hundreds of venture capitals and global investors, and over 400 multinational corporations R&D centers that are based in Israel. This includes all the global tech giants, as we'll see in a second. As we speak about early stage innovation, the support is derived through a network of incubators and accelerators. And touching back to the foundations, Israel has 9 public universities and more than 20 medical research centers, which are highly connected to the ecosystem, to the companies that have grown, a lot of the companies themselves. And this creates an important R&D basis and technological basis for Israel's industry. These M&As that you can see on the screen are from recent years, and they can showcase Israel's distinguished position and the high level of engagement of all major MNCs in Israel, this time in acquisitions. As you can see, some of the biggest international names like Intel, Microsoft, Google, and others are heavily invested in Israel, both in acquiring multiple Israeli startups over the years, setting up their R&D centers, creating and developing partnerships with startups all along the value chain. All of these are part of what is unique about the Israeli ecosystem and the MNC's interaction. We can say today that Israeli companies are now also growing in different models, and we are witnessing in recent months a spree of major IPOs, both in NASDAQ and in other stock exchanges of Israeli companies, major companies like Lemonade, InnoVEX, Monday.com, JFrog, and more. This slide help us understand why would startups and corporate work together from the get-go. So from the startup side, they can gain, first of all, the money and resources, which are always in need for a small company, a growing small company. Second of all is the access to markets. Israel is quite small, quite similar to what Taiwan is as a market. There's no real local market for startups here. And the startup companies are what we like to call born global. They're aiming for the global market from practically day one. The third part is the go-to-market experience, which is essential. And this corporates, these MNCs can take them and bring this experience to the companies. And the last part is the awareness, the brand awareness. The working with a huge corporate brings a lot of other opportunities just in terms of visibility. And on the other hand, which is also quite important, is the corporate achieve much needed access to out-of-the-box thinking and innovation, the ability to take very big risks through external partners, and the ability to focus on a very specific topic, And eventually, access to technology can be integrated. The same technology can be integrated and upgrade the products of the corporates, and also the processes, whether it's manufacturing or operations. This can be achieved by integrating breakthrough innovative technology from Israel. In this next part, I will go over the ways Taiwanese companies can engage with the Israeli ecosystem and opportunities for collaboration. So let's explore the specific opportunities in Israel for Taiwanese companies. You can imagine that Israel and Taiwan are quite similar in their approach to technology and the qualities, but very much different in the way each country exercises this. So we can say that this is the key. This creates complementarities and very important synergies between the countries. First of all, Taiwan is a manufacturing powerhouse with a complete supply chain of various hardware products. Israel, on the other hand, is a leader in software technologies. Second, Taiwan's industry supply integrated solutions, usually hardware products, as we said before, as Israel has mostly point solutions, which aim to solve a specific component or a part of the problem and not the entire platform. These two parts are very, very important in understanding the potential of what we see between Israel and Taiwan. Third of all is Taiwan has leading industrial clusters and highly developed service sectors, whereas Israel's prominent sectors provide technological innovation to these industries and services. We can talk about technologies such as advanced manufacturing, technologies for electronics and ICT, semiconductors, cybersecurity, digital health, and many more. So what are the unique collaboration opportunities that engaging with Israel will open for Taiwanese companies? First and foremost, Taiwanese companies can innovate and add value to their products by integrating Israeli technologies. You can see on the right side some of the prominent sectors and deep technologies Israel is prominent and is leading in, and we identify those as highly relevant for collaboration between Taiwan and Israel. We can talk about cybersecurity, again, about electronics, telecommunications, advanced manufacturing or Industry 4.0, automotive or e-mobility, as we see currently in Taiwan. And all of these are very, very, has much potential for the collaboration between the two countries. Second, by utilizing Israel's advanced manufacturing solutions, Taiwanese companies can upgrade their manufacturing processes. This is something that we can see as highly relevant as well. Technological collaboration can include a joint venture in R&D, meaning co-developed technologies between Israeli and Taiwanese companies. And also an essential part is the opportunity for Taiwanese companies to test these technologies by providing a testing site for the Israeli companies to have this implemented and developed in the Taiwanese companies' manufacturing sites or and so on. This is highly important because Israel essentially do not have very developed industrial clusters, and this is again one of the most relevant part of the collaboration between the countries. And lastly, by engaging with the Israeli ecosystem, Taiwanese companies can also gain access to further international markets and partners that are very active in Israel. Before we finish, I would like to take probably the last slide here to shortly present the ways we at the Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center in Tel Aviv can help your company. So we are here to offer our help in 3 levels. First, we provide an introduction to the Israeli technology ecosystem and help learn about the Israeli high-tech industry, more specifically explore relevant technology sectors, companies, organizations, and so on. And all of this is according to the company's interest and needs. Second, we assist in initiating contact with the Israeli ecosystem by providing technology scouting, which is again tailored to your company needs. and B2B meetings with startups and ecosystem partners after we identify the relevant ones. Third, we provide support and assistance in establishing a long-term innovation presence in Israel. I can say that in the past 2 years, we have been working with Taiwanese companies and organizations, helping them identify and connect with Israeli technology, be more aware of the opportunities here, and also increase the awareness of Israeli companies to what their company has to offer from the Taiwanese side as well. I can say that TAITRA and us at the Israeli branch in Tel Aviv, we are your gateway to Israeli innovation. We want to help you do this, and we encourage you to please feel free and welcome to contact us for any interest you have regarding the Israeli ecosystem and Israeli technologies. And as I said, you are all invited to contact us for any inquiry you have regarding business with Israel. You have our email listed here in this slide, so go ahead and email us at any time. And let's conclude. I would like to thank all of you for viewing the webinar. I hope you enjoyed it. It was interesting and relevant for you. And again, thank our team at TAITRA's HQ for arranging this event, and for our amazing speakers that you saw in all the sessions before me. Thank you so much for being here. I hope to hear from you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today. I'm quite excited to be here to share with you about Vietnam startup scene and ecosystem. So for the outline today, we can go through for the overview, and then I'll talk about Vietnam startup ecosystem, and also some highlight about startup, as well as also for future and strength of Vietnam startup. All right, so move on. First, let me introduce a bit about myself. So my name is Johnny Lê. I have 30 years in IT industry and serving IT services for US, UK, Japan, Singapore, and Vietnam market. So currently, I am the CEO of 689 Cloud. This is a technology company based in Singapore, which operates in Vietnam, Japan, and US. And we're providing cloud content security solution for business. And I am also security pro of SCA. So SCA is first IT association in Vietnam with more than 30 years established, and we have over 350 company as member. Okay, so next, let's talk about for overview about the market. So in 2020, that is COVID pandemic. I think that is impact in most economic country. But in Vietnam, it's positive growth. And for IMF, that is International Material Fund, report that, and for Vietnam GDP to forecast to grow for 6.5% in 2020. And Vietnam would be the second fastest growth economy in Asia. So that is too great for overseas investment, and many investors come in. Also, recently for report from Vietnam Venture Summit in 2020, so Vietnam has emerged as regional startup hub in South Asia with investment worth 850 million US dollar. For example, recently, SoftBank invest 200 million to VNPay. That is also the tech startup in Vietnam for fintech and online payment. And for Vietnam digital economy by 2025 to expect value at 43 billion US dollar. And for tech sector, dominates right now is like e-commerce, we can say like Tiki, Sendor, that is some model platform domestic in Vietnam, and fintech, AI, food tech, and enterprise solution, edutech, and healthcare tech, as well as cyber security. So for ecosystem, it grow rapidly recently for last 5 years until now. Include only from VC, accelerator, incubator, also from government support. So government, they also support in terms of community, as well as also for seed funding to support a startup quite early stage. And with support from accelerator and incubator, we also grow and develop for a mentorship network and angel investor, as well as for community. And also in university, we can see that is for resource support for startup, as well as many for young student after graduates. They also have a great idea, and with support from accelerator and incubator, they also can start the new startup as well. And we have many events which cross of related to startup connection from VC to startup, or grant and support from government. So in terms of ecosystem here, we can see grow fast, and some the big name we know like VNG, VNPay, Momo, Logivan, example. For Tiki, it is e-commerce platform. And in overview, in summary, we could say around we have 3,000 startups, and incubator and accelerator we have around for 40, and VC also have around for 40, and co-working space also now it have a great support for startup in like Ho Chi Minh, Hanoi, or Da Nang, some the main big city. And here is one example for Vietnam startup funding and VC in 2021. We can see have quite dynamic, including in Vietnam and US, Japan, Singapore. In US, such as like 500 startup in Silicon Valley. In Japan, like Cyber Agent, GMO. In Vietnam, we also have like VSV, Vietnam Silicon Valley, Visa, and Saigon SynHub for great support community. And in Singapore, also have some the new accelerator support in Vietnam, like I-71. It is for cyber security. And next, for fintech Vietnam startup in 2020, we can see quite dynamic with the different area, like for payment solution, like VNPay, VNID, Momo, and for wealth management, the support like for individual investment online, or P2P lending. Here is also the new area for the fintech in Vietnam, to under review and approved from government, but we can see it also grow fast. And other is like insurance tech and credit and querying, like data management, like loop and other OJR BPOS, that is solution for retail and customer loyalty. And for edutech, also quite rich in terms of provide for different area as well, like solution for kids and solution for business. That means they provide online training as well as for online learning at university, as well as for kids to study. And we also see many platforms that a combination from overseas and internal, such as like Duolingo as well. In order, we can see the platform for developer, that means teaching for programming. And other, I think, emerge tech startup now in Vietnam is cybersecurity, because of the trend of digital transformation, and many business now they're moving data to the cloud and sharing data to outside organization. So the problem now is will be how to protect the data, how to protect the customer data, how to secure communication from employee to outside business and customer and partner. So cybersecurity is also the new trend from now. So we also see some the startup here popular in Vietnam. Okay, so finally, for future and trend of startup in Vietnam. So Vietnam government, they start to fork a program for nation digital transformation that is expected to finish by 2025. And I think that is also the great opportunity to grow and increase number of startups related to digital transformation solution, such as like SaaS platform for SME, because until 2020, there are more than 515,000 enterprise business in Vietnam, but more than 93% that is to SME, so that is to big market. And for SME, for digital transformation, they will expect more like platform to have them like business administration, like accounting, sales, marketing, and most of activity can do online and work remotely, even like during COVID. So with that trend, we expect that here is more of area that startup to be focused in like next 3 or 5 years, like AI and data analytics and fintech and edutech and agriculture tech. Agriculture is also quite interest in Vietnam, because this government try to push to support more to increase productivity in agriculture, and how to solve still so many problems with agriculture in Vietnam. And healthcare also the great opportunity, because so far to handle most of in like the local hospital and control much more by government. But right now with the support and also grow technology and startup, we have more technology related to healthcare, like we have some application to have like patient and doctor that can remotely serving for healthcare service, or they can do some tests online as well. And e-commerce to be the big player so far and until now. And other we'll see like AR, VR, and property tax for real estate also grow. And cybersecurity, as mentioned, with the trend of digital transformation and transportation, such as with Grab or Gojek to the big player in Vietnam, but in local we still see and some other they still fight with the niche market to grow that business like B or other like City 60 with the delivery services. Okay, so that is the overall information and some of startup we would like to share with you, and half that with that information you can get a bit insight about Vietnam startup ecosystem, as well as opportunity for you to doing business in Vietnam and invest in Vietnam. And I'm quite happy to connect with you guys and support to you in next future. Thank you.
Hello everyone, this is Kurt Liu, Head of Product and Strategy at XRSPACE. First of all, I would like to thank InnoVEX for this great opportunity to talk to you about innovation and how a startup company like XRSPACE from Taiwan can make an impact globally. Same as most of you, I too am working remotely in this challenging time. And speaking of innovation, it seems most of the ideas these days are evolving around the pandemic, and naturally the opportunities it represents in areas such as improving quality of social connection, maintaining and increasing the efficiency of remote workforce, or ensuring continuous learning while staying at home. Founded by Mr. Peter Cho, former CEO of HTC and the visionary leader in telecommunication industry. When we started XRSPACE 4 years ago, our vision was to bring people together in a personal and meaningful way without the confines of physical boundaries. Our mission was to build a digital world as we are entering this spatial communication era with 5G, XR, computer vision, and AI to create this new immersive experience that is contextual, familiar, and expandable. We started our journey towards the vision of building this virtual world when we first launched with local Taiwanese telecom leader in Chonghua Telecom last summer, with both this lightweight and beautiful VR headset and the world's first 5G XR social platform. Since then, the market feedback and inquiries have further shown the need for staying connected with friends and family, and also the need to be productive while working from home. We believe that XR technology can offer much more than the way we stay connected today. XRSPACE's core innovation in digital avatar, virtual space, and real-time interaction are key elements to future communication. In digital avatar, it gives you the sense of presence. In virtual space, it gives you the sense of belonging. And in real-time social interaction, it gives you the best alternative to build strong people-to-people connections in this difficult time. The convergence of these core technologies is a transformation from point-to-point communication that we have today to a virtual togetherness experience that is more persistent and contextual. Let me quickly give you an idea of what we have done. Last fall, we had the opportunity to work closely with TAITRA, showcasing Taiwan's best brands and companies to the world through the power of XR. We first demonstrated our platform capabilities during TAITRA's 50th anniversary, following with many collaborations such as bringing Taiwan's brands to Vietnam expos. Later, we were able to bring the same unique capability of bringing people together remotely for TAICA, the Taiwan Creative Content Agency supervised by Ministry of Culture, which has been spearheading Taiwan creative content IPs, including film and television, pop music, VR content, ACG content across the globe. It was our pleasure to showcase the top IPs from Taiwan through XRSPACE virtual event platform that simply delivered the next generation content conception experience in an expo-like virtual venue to buyers globally. In the latest collaboration, we've partnered with DEF CON organization from the US and Baidu from China in delivering the first DEF CON event done in virtual reality, with speakers and fans coming from countries including US, China, Singapore, and Taiwan. This was one of the most ambitious virtual gatherings to be held in global tech industries, offering real-time interaction through not only VR, but also PC and smartphones. As many of you may know, education is surely one of the, if not the most enthusiastic industry to embrace XR. We've had the honor to supply VR classroom solution to 30% of all Taipei junior high and elementary schools, supplying not only the best proven K-12 contents in VR to our teachers and students, but also a cross-platform multi-user VR classroom space for students to make use without the limitation of physical distance. We're also working closely with global partners such as Qualcomm to better scale up virtual tools and contents to meet more demands of remote learning in the future. Among all industries hurt by this pandemic, perhaps one of the most severe would be the global business travel and the offline physical expo event segment. With 90% of global events canceled or postponed, it is the need to meet and conduct business that gave rise to virtual solutions. And InnoVEX Virtual is an innovative example of bridging enterprises and customers across the globe, breaking the physical barrier we face today. And innovation continues to evolve around new ways of doing business globally. The need for better tools of productivity, the need to engage with customers and partners, the need for interaction to be natural, as if we are alongside one another, and to merge events both online and offline together. The potential for innovation on hybrid work and enterprise social. At XRSPACE, with the cutting-edge technologies in avatar, contextual space, and social interaction designed to enhance people-to-people connection. XRSPACE virtual event solution is unique in that it also enables real-time interaction across all smart devices that include PC and smartphones, VR and AR, so that both exhibitors and participants can choose to access the virtual event and be together using smart devices they have. And enterprises will be able to meet customers and showcase their products online anytime. And enterprises will be able to maintain customer relations for retention and conversion. Our innovation on avatar, space, and social interaction, and now offering a cross-platform experience to mobile and PC, enables the market to see what the future of virtual event will be like. That's why we believe XRSPACE is in a good position delivering the best virtual event solution going forward. We've been devoted to bring people together to fulfill the need for everyone to get together effortlessly without the barrier of distance. All done through accessing virtual events. Working closely with partners such as TAITRA, we continue to refine our virtual event solution to meet the needs of global event organizers, small and medium enterprises, and brands. We also believe in this 5G XR digital transformation, in that human interactions are changed permanently even after the pandemic. As Microsoft and other industry leaders have pointed out, the future is hybrid, and the next disruption will be merging physical with virtual. Across all industries, a new way of working, learning, and socializing is inevitable. We'd like to invite anyone to join us on this path of innovation. Thank you again, InnoVEX. And we welcome enterprises and brands to join us in the coming 5G XR digital transformation. Thank you.